structure fire in Rosemead.
Ooh, that's a lot of flames and a lot of thick black smoke. Gil Levis in Sky 5 with all the details. Hi, Gil.
Hi, Sandra and Lou. This has been burning since just before 2:30 this afternoon. LA County Fire on scene here. It is a large commercial structure that is on fire right now. There's hazmat teams here. They're concerned about the chemicals that are within this property itself. As you can see, they're fighting it defensively with those heavy streams trying to surround the fire. Now, on one side, there's a wash there on the right-hand side. That's going to be the east side of the building right now, but this is in the 2600 block of River Avenue, just south of Garvey Avenue, and they're throwing everything they can at this fire to try to cool it down, to calm it down, but it looks like that building is a complete loss. Now the concern is for the chemicals that are burning right now. The hazmat teams were concerned about exactly what was in this property, what was in its surrounding property, and they are also concerned about the surrounding buildings as well. So as they fight this huge fire, it's putting up a large plume of smoke that can be seen all across the San Gabriel Valley here. But again, firefighters doing what they can to try to knock this down, but it is just nothing but black smoke coming up out of this fire, pushing off that smoke to the northeast right now. So if you're in this area, you're going to want to keep your doors and windows closed. You don't want to be exposed to any of that toxic smoke that's that's coming up out of this fire right now. But as I zoom in here, you can see some of those containers that continue to catch fire here. And the concern for firefighters, like I said, is they're unsure what's in those containers. So that's the latest overhead up in Sky 5. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Well, Gil, also too, you know, the firefighters' safety there in terms of explosions as well. But we also do know that firefighters periodically, part of their job is to go into buildings like this and assess these buildings and sort of know like what is in a certain area so they can be careful, correct?
That is correct. In fact, I can hear the hazmat teams or the captains on scene here trying to coordinate with the hazmat teams to find out exactly what this business does, what kind of chemicals that they use, what kind of chemicals they're storing, and that is something that is of an immediate concern. Another concern is the runoff, the water runoff from a fire like this. If there's toxic chemicals in there that are burning, that water mixes with that and it gets put out into the river system. So that also is a concern for firefighters, not only the river system, but also on the streets itself. But as I zoom in here, you can see the firefighters having a bit of a difficult time. They're having to spray, like this one ladder pipe here, having to spray completely over one of the structures next door to hit that part of the fire. So very difficult conditions for those firefighters right now. Again, this fire starting just before 2:30 this afternoon.
Oh, Gil, just looking at this, it is just amazing how much smoke is being put out. Do we know about evacuations? Was anybody inside?
You know, I haven't heard, Sandra, I haven't heard the word on evacuations. We don't know if there's any injuries at this point. We're working to get that information for you. Here's a wide shot and a look at all that smoke. It is going up in elevation and flattens out at a certain altitude there, and it pushes out towards the north and east. That's the direction we're facing the camera right now. So that very dark, thick smoke there. The good news is in this area, it doesn't look like there's a lot of homes in the immediate area. You got that riverbed that runs through here, and it looks like it's largely commercial. But if I zoom out and pull out to the left here, I'm going to show you there's homes off to the west. Those are safe. The wind is pushing it to the north and east.
Yeah, we want to remind people, if you are in an area where you're being affected by that smoke, of course you want to stay inside. Don't try to go outside. You do not want to breathe this in. We're not aware right now of what chemical is burning, but it surely does not look healthy for the air quality. So stay inside. If you have air conditioning, that's the thing to do. Keep the windows shut and turn the air conditioning on.
And Gil, I'm looking at the 2600 River Avenue online here. There are two companies. One's Insulflow, which is a concrete contractor, and then there's also another company, which this one may be it, is the Paramelt. They're a manufacturer. I'm not sure what of. That's at 2628.
Yeah, Lou, I heard that address come out just a few minutes ago as we were approaching the fire, the 2628 address. Mm-hmm. They have units in front of that. Now, I don't know if that's the actual unit itself or if it's the other one you mentioned there, but it's at the very dead end of the street. It would be on the south end southeast end of that street. So that's the property that's on fire right now. They just called now a third alarm for this fire, and concerns now for the structure directly across the street here. There's some chemicals there in those containers. They keep spraying those down every once in a while, so they're concerned about the fire spreading to that structure as well.
Yeah, it looks like the strategy right now is really to keep that fire from moving in that building off to screen left there. I see, what, 5, 6 streams of water, and it does not really look like they're making an impact.
Really doesn't, does it? You know, the other problem is they don't have access to that river side of the fire. There might be firefighters on the bike lane there that's along the riverbanks, but you know, as far as we can see, there are no firefighters, at least on that eastern flank of the fire. And as the smoke cleared just a second ago, you saw some of that fire getting very close to this building. It looks like it might catch that building on fire, so we might lose or get another building here involved in fire.
Do we know which fire departments are currently fighting this?
Definitely it's County Fire that's leading the efforts here. Unknown on the other units that are coming into the scene. Like I said, they just called a third alarm on this, so we'll likely be surrounding fire departments that maybe Verdugo Fire that may have a presence nearby, but that might be one of the other fire companies that will be coming into the scene.
So when we talk about a 3-alarm fire, that just means more resources will be deployed. Any aerial fight going on, or Gil, would that just be too dangerous at this point with the smoke?
Yeah, too dangerous, and also they usually don't drop on a structure fire like this, especially with chemicals on it. You would think that, yeah, that would be nice to have an aerial drop of some water onto this fire, but it's not feasible, it's not safe for the firefighters on the ground. But again, it would look, you know, the ferociousness of this fire doesn't seem like any of these streams, even though they're heavy streams. A lot of water being pumped into this fire right now is not doing much to it.
And Gil, I mentioned Paramount at the address that you basically also heard over the radio. If in fact this is the company, they're independently, privately owned company, and they're basically a global leader, according to their website, in specialty waxes, adhesives, and coatings for things like cosmetics, food, packaging, and specialty waxes, which doesn't sound as much like chemicals necessarily, but there's definitely a lot of materials for burning for sure.
Yeah, it could explain the ferociousness of this fire, certainly putting up so much flames. You know, those flame lengths that are coming out of it, you see the black smoke there, but it's going up into the smoke itself, so it's probably 100 feet high down there for those firefighters. And again, very dangerous, very difficult situation for those firefighters to contend with.
You know, every time we have fires, you know, we always sigh relief when it's white smoke. This black smoke is so indicative of how intense that heat is coming off of that building. Look at that.
And so much to burn, apparently.
Boy. Yeah, and my pilot, Jim Pollard, pointing out one of the firefighters here. This is going to be on the northeastern side of the fire. We didn't see him at first because of the smoke, but that apparatus there right in the line of that smoke. You can see the fire apparatus there on the ground. So they're the closest to that riverbed that looks like the fire department can get, but going back into the main source of the fire, that water just hitting it, it's basically trying to just cool down the perimeter at this point, and they're just allowing that center section just to burn out.
Boy, we can just see everything in its path is melting. You showed us that firefighter on the ladder, Gil, so concerning, but we have to remember these are the best firefighters here in LA City and County, and they train for this. And it did look like he was, of course, wearing his protective respiratory tanks.
Yeah, but he's inside that black smoke, like to the point where they probably are, I would guess, lowering that ladder. But it looks like it's still extended, which is fascinating that he's in the middle of all that.
You know, it's possible. Let's get another look. I didn't get a chance to see if there was a... Oh, yeah, there is a firefighter up there for sure. So, yeah, there he is right in it and doing what he can to try to prevent that fire from spreading to the structures that are next door to it. But a tough firefight for firefighters. You can see firefighters here on the ground here using their hose lines there to protect that structure basically behind them. And the fire crept right up alongside that building. So far, it doesn't look like it spread to the roof. Usually we'll have firefighters on top of other roofs to verify that fire is not getting into them. We don't see that happening right now, but likely because they're just trying to contend with this large fire and trying to knock it down as much as they can.
All right, if you're just joining us right now, this is Sky 5 live over the scene of a 3 alarm, which means a very big fire in Rosemead right now, burning in the 2600 block of River Avenue, south of Garvey. It appears this is a hazmat situation with some sort of chemicals, although we have not yet confirmed what it is, but you can see these flames just wildly out.